Hello PennDOT Community Traffic Safety Partners. Thank you for joining us for another video, which is being produced for you by the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia Center for Injury Research and Prevention. We're working on Chapter 4, Smart Objectives, and so if you have not already done so, please watch Chapter 4A, where we talk all about what SMART objectives are, how they're valuable for your program, how you can get started with SMART objectives, and how to define objectives that are within your reach. In Chapter 4B, we're going to talk about how we can turn this around on you. It's your turn to write SMART objectives, and we've developed a worksheet that we believe will be helpful for you and your team. Let's get started with an activity that can help you to define your own SMART objectives. Imagine that you're working on an intervention that is going to increase teens' awareness about the dangers of texting and driving. Our performance measure for this intervention is the proportion of students who engage in distracted driving behaviors. In other words, we're looking to reduce the overall proportion of students who are engaging in these behaviors. How can this be rewritten to be SMART? Remember that SMART objectives are not just overall program goals, but instead they're objectives that are specific, measurable, achievable and agreed upon by our stakeholders, realistic, and time-bound. So if our objective was that we wanted our intervention to decrease the proportion of students who engage in distracted driving behaviors, but we wanted to rewrite this in a SMART way, it might look like this. Upon completion of the texting and driving intervention, 80% of 16-year-old adolescents will be able to describe at least 2 major risks associated with texting and driving. By breaking our objective down in this way, we can make sure that it's specific, time-based, realistic, achievable, and measurable. So we're much more likely to achieve this objective. Here is a worksheet that's available to you in your resources book which can help you with this. An example is that we might have a program with a goal of increasing teens' awareness about the dangers of texting and driving. A not-so-smart objective would be to just say that participants will be aware of the major risks associated with texting and driving at the end of the program. But let's talk about how we might make this SMART. So think about this key component, specific. What is the specific task? Our objective could be changed to be very specific. 16-year-old adolescents learning more about the risks of texting and driving. Great. Another key component could be making sure that it's measurable. What are going to be the standards or parameters that we're going to use to make sure that we're reaching this objective? Describing at least 2 major risks associated with texting and driving is an example of a measurable objective. Is it achievable? Yes. We're only asking for people to be able to articulate 2 major risks associated with texting and driving. That sounds very achievable. Is it realistic? Yes. With the instructors that we have available and the program materials we have available, there should be no reason why we can't get teens to identify at least 2 major risks associated with texting and driving. And is it time-bound? In other words, what are the start and end dates? That would be the beginning and the completion of our texting and driving intervention. So if we rewrote our not-so-smart objective, participants will be aware of the major risks associated with texting and driving. To be SMART, it would look like this. Upon completion of the texting and driving intervention, 16-year-old adolescents will be able to describe at least 2 major risks associated with texting and driving. That's an example of rewriting an objective to be SMART. Now it's your turn. We've provided you with examples and worksheets that you can use to rewrite your own SMART objectives for your program. You have just completed Chapter 4B of the section on program planning. In the next chapter, Chapter 5, we'll get started with how we can create and use program logic models to help us to plan our overall objectives and outcomes for our program. Thank you so much for watching.